minutes from now, one lucky club will win first overall pick in the 2005 NHL entry draft. And with that, the opportunity to select the most talked about prospect since Eric Lindros.
Hi, everybody. I'm Darren Detition, and welcome to the NHL Draft in 30 minutes, the Eric Lindros saga. We're going to take a trip back in time to 1991. That was the year that the draft actually changed hockey.
The Quebec Nordiques are very proud to select as first pick overall in the 1991 NHL annual draft, Eric Lindros.
For the first time, the overwhelming choice at number 1 decided his own fate.
You'll notice that Marcel Aubu, the president of the Quebec Nordiques, presented Eric Lindros with a sweater. Eric Lindros just simply took that sweater, draped it across his arm. He will not put the sweater on. He made that perfectly clear to the Quebec Nordiques.
The number 1 overall selection in the 2005 NHL entry draft belongs to...
Story, some younger fans. The 2005 entry draft was one of the shadiest things ever go down in the NHL. That was the first time since 1980 that the NHL lottery draft was held behind closed doors. There was no public drawing of the balls. Gary Bettman went in behind a curtain, and he came out from behind the curtain holding a Pittsburgh Penguins logo. Oh, look, Penguins, congratulations, you won.
Lottery draft, and it is Brian Burke's Anaheim Mighty Ducks and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Commissioner Gary Bettman will announce the winner, the first overall pick first.
belongs to... Pittsburgh Penguins.
Still stings for someone on this panel who, if we had the mics hot when number 6 was there and Gary Bettman overturned the envelope and it said Columbus Blue Jackets, want to reprise what you just said on mic this time?
No, it was a joke.
I
was sour. I thought it was a joke.
I complained about that too. I thought it was really unfair, and I felt this was a subversion of the whole process. I complained bitterly to the NHL about this.
The Penguins were a disaster in that era, right, fellas?
Oh, yeah.
They were a mess.
It was
no doubt.
Terrible.
Nightmare.
They almost moved to Hamilton, right? Remember Jim Balsillie tried to buy the
That's
Penguins.
right. They almost moved to Kansas City.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 2005 National Hockey League entry draft. The NHL is honored to be hosting this year's event in Ottawa. So let's get started. The first selection in the 2005 NHL entry draft belongs to the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Pittsburgh Penguins select from Rimouski, the Quebec Major Junior League, Sidney Crosby.
Of his dad, Troy, who was a draft pick himself of the Montreal Canadiens.
I remember this about when the lottery was last Friday, Sidney Crosby was announced going to the Pittsburgh Penguins. They had to keep their marketing staff overnight at the Marriott Hotel. The phone started ringing at 4:30 for season tickets, and I've talked to the management people there. They still haven't been able to tabulate how many season ticket packages they sold because it's been so large.
It's estimated to be more than 3,000 deposits that they've taken on season tickets for the coming year.
Sidney Crosby, the first overall pick in the NHL draft, as expected. Up to Gordon.
Yeah, not often that when you go up to the podium of the draft that you stand there with a guy who might be your line mate. Pittsburgh owner Mario Lemieux, who will likely get some time at least on the power play with Sidney Crosby in the early going. So a fascinating dynamic between those two guys. With Mario Lemieux.
Thank you. This must be a somewhat surreal day. 21 years ago, you went through the exact same thing.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Montreal Forum in the 1984 NHL entry draft.
Pittsburgh, un premier choix de Pittsburgh, number 66, Mario Lemieux.
Mario, Gus Vidali had told us that you would not walk to the Pittsburgh table. Your reaction, your feeling?
Well, I don't feel to go downstairs on the floor, and because I think Pittsburgh don't really want me enough to go downstairs, so that's why I'm staying here.
What adjustments are you making because of this? Will this extend your career? Do you intend to play longer, and how much longer?
Yeah, I'd love to play, a couple more years, as long as I'm going to be healthy and play at a high level. I'd love to play, especially with Sidney now. And
look how quickly the Penguins come back. Lemieux to Crosby, he scores, and they beat the clock.
I'm going to be very active in the free agent market, and hopefully put a great team together to take a run at the Stanley Cup.
It seems that the lottery machine actually had a conscience in this case because of the 30 teams over the last 3 years, there were 7 of the teams that had not made the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Penguins were one of those 7 franchises, and when you start looking at franchises around the National Hockey League, the Pittsburgh Penguins at this point in time would be considered very much a needy franchise in the National Hockey League.
Sidney